All right, my friends. So, like I said, there's going to be a quick little addition to information we didn't cover. It's still in your readings, it's in the review videos, but I just didn't teach about it. So, I wanted to make sure I got into it to make it fair game for your test. Anyways, I will post this sheet up on Schoology for you, but I will just go through the topics that I know are on the test. So, let's just call this what this is. Pay attention to this like 2 or 3 minute video. It'll really help you. I'll just go through the topics that are on the test for the reform movements. So, very quickly, the market revolution has a bunch of reactions to it. If you look at the AP guide, right, for the market revolution and the era as a whole, it says the rise of democratic and individualist beliefs, a response to rationalism and changes to society caused by the market revolution, along with greater social and geographic mobility, contributed to a moral and social reform and inspired utopian and other religious movements. So basically, the market revolution, as you can see in the causation, right, leads to a whole bunch of social changes, right? We're going to look at a few of those social changes again that I know are on the test. So let's make sure we're paying attention, right? Abolitionists, right? Abolitionists basically believe that slavery is a moral abomination and that they need to be slaves need to be freed and slavery needs to be like washed clean of the United States, right? So, abolitionists definitely believe in this as a whole. They also go together with the women's suffrage movement, right? Because basically, the abolitionists argue that like everybody should be treated equally under God, right? And under the law, including women. So, there's definitely a question on your test that's going to be a quote from this thing, the Declaration of Sentiments, right? The women's rights movement first organized meeting happens at Seneca Falls in Seneca Falls, New York, right? And the women's suffrage meeting is going to have this Declaration of Sentiments, which is basically a copy paste of the Declaration of Independence, except instead of saying he, right, they mean like all men and what they've done awful to women instead of King George III, right? So, when you get that question, who would most likely sympathize with the arguments made at Seneca Falls? It's the abolitionists, right? Other couple things you need to know. Nat Turner, right? Nat Turner, again, it's a name and he's going to have a rebellion. So it's a slave rebellion. And it's basically going to show the immorality of slavery. And it's having a widespread effect on Southern culture. Basically, the Nat Turner question is going to argue that like slavery is corrupting the South. It may be the first question on your test. And I would look for the immorality of slavery having a widespread impact. Couple other things you need to know. Transcendentalism. Transcendentalism is this whole reaction to the market revolution because basically, again, people are working in factories and stuff. The transcendentalists argue that like humans need to be one with nature and that this oneness with nature like brings you closer to God and therefore, right, makes your soul like better. It leads to like a more like clean life. So there's a question about transcendentalism, which will basically be a quote, right? That you need to be like pure idea in mind and spirit, right? A revolution in things will tend to influence the spirit. They're basically talking about nature helping you. It's going to be a transcendentalist quote. So I'm basically giving you a couple answers here if you watch the video, right? Transcendentalists, again, are a reaction to the market revolution and they believe in like oneness with nature. It's one of the first 5 questions on your test, and the answer is going to be about transcendentalism. Last thing, that's not on this sheet that I do need you to know that there's totally a video about on your homework packet and stuff is the Mormons, right? So the Mormons, right, are a group that are going to again spring out of this second great awakening. They are a religious group, right? That's basically founded that like Jesus came to America and there's a whole Book of Mormon and stuff and there's a whole background to it. Basically, what you need to know is that the Mormons face a lot of religious persecution. Like for example, one of their founders, Joseph Smith, is murdered because of like him questioning basically like Christian beliefs, right? Like if you ask the Catholic Church or mainstream Christianity at the time, like Jesus did not come to the United States. There's like this whole thing with Mormonism and them being oppressed. So they move out west to like Utah. So there's a question on your test about basically why did the Mormons move west? It's to avoid religious persecution. So anyways, those are the topics that I would need you to know that are additions. Abolitionists, again, morally opposed to slavery. They go hand in hand with women's suffrage because both groups believe that everybody should be treated equally under the law. So they support one another, right? Women are going to ask for their rights in the Declaration of Sentiments at Seneca Falls, right? We have the Nat Turner Rebellion, which is going to reveal like the evils of slavery in the South, and then transcendentalism with oneness with nature, right? Along with the Mormons. So that's all the new info you would need to know. Please ask me questions about this. I'll probably even cover it very briefly before we play Jeopardy tomorrow. The only other thing I wanted to talk about was body paragraphs. The reason why I want to talk about this is there's going to be a question on your test that's going to ask you to write the intro and body paragraph, one body paragraph, as you're writing for the test. If you just look at my model example, which is also posted on Schoology, body paragraph writing workshop, it follows the T formula. Like I'll just do the first one. So here's your sample body paragraph. Here's the T, the topic. The market revolution encompassed significant technological and therefore economic changes to the southern region of the United States, leading to further dependency on slave labor and cash crops. That's my topic. I'm talking about the market revolution and how technology impacted it. One example, the E, the evidence of these changes is Eli Whitney's cotton gin, which allowed for more cotton production to increase significantly as it made the process of producing the crop much more efficient. So why do I care? In turn, cotton became the primary cash crop for the southern states, and with the idea of King Cotton being the driving economic mindset. So that's like telling me why it matters, because the South is becoming dependent on cotton. Do a TEA twice in a body paragraph, and you got yourself a body paragraph. It gives me 2 or 3 specific pieces of evidence. That's what I'm looking for. So we write our context, our thesis, and then just 2 or 3 T's on top of each other for a body paragraph. If you have questions about that, also ask me in class. I'll see you tomorrow.